This is Lieutenant Sulu of the Starship Enterprise, standing by on the bridge with the Christmas song. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
I don't know where to start now.
Our
ongoing
pain and suffering is your entertainment for these 12 days of Christmas.
Our ongoing suffering continues, and what we've decided is the best way to appease you, our angry listeners, is by continuing to suffer through Lower Decks. We're now on episode 4, season 1, Moist Vessel, written by Ann Kim, directed by Barry J. Kelly, and first aired on August 27th, 2020. First thoughts, Boris.
This is actually the episode I hated the most in the entire season. I just didn't like it. I thought it was really dumb. I thought that nepotism ran wild in this episode, which again goes everything against the Federation stands for, shitting on everything Star Trek stands for. So I just see this as a mockery in general.
Phil?
I honestly, these shows just mean nothing to me. They're just mindless 30 minutes of drivel. But I didn't care either way about this episode. I just thought it was there. I didn't think it was as bad as maybe some of the earlier ones.
Would you say that it disappeared like Tears in the Rain?
Yeah, I watched this yesterday and I can barely remember it.
So I will say that this one at least had a Star Trek pitch. And that is, we found an ancient terraforming strip and we gotta move it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was some funny stuff in there. There was some stuff that I did enjoy. I don't want to spoil it.
I'm with Boris, though. This is one of the worst episodes.
Well, it speaks to incompetence. Like, the entire thing speaks to incompetence.
No.
You're right. They're trying to do stuff in Star Trek, and they're trying to leverage the crew and the ideas and the creative and all of this stuff, the resources that they have. And then it comes down to a technicality of not asking a question.
Oh, yeah. This entire episode, every single problem is created by the characters just being dumb and intransigent.
Yeah. And again, I get it that there's a group of people who want to watch that humor. All right. And would find it funny. In a Rick and Morty, this would be funny.
I mean, here's the thing is this wouldn't have flown in Rick and Morty.
Probably not. But
This
still,
is
the humor itself, I could totally see them going through an entire episode of anguish, which is kind of like what Rick and Morty is anyway, of just anguish, and then coming out and going, oh, you mean I didn't ask this question? And then that's it. You know what I mean? They go, well, let's just go open a portal and go back to blah, blah, blah. And I get that audience exists and enjoys it and gets into an altered state or maybe watches it totally straight edge. I don't know, but they get their satisfaction out of it. I can't see that this is a Star Trek fan's ideal situation or it even being the situation that you want to create Star Trek fans.
So my position is that while I agree with you that it's not for Star Trek fans, it also doesn't land Rick and Morty style humor well enough. Because you're right, you would have ended it, but the ending would be the twisting of the knife of how unnecessary this was.
Yeah,
and this is just like people be like that.
That's exactly it. Like that's what I can't stand about the show. Like not only is it shitting on all over everything that you think about Star Trek, it just doesn't make sense. And the fact that you say this wouldn't even land at or be something a part of Rick and Morty, then who the fuck is it for?
That's where we're at with all of this.
Do we feel the need to do a plot recap?
I would give it a good 2-minute, if at all.
The Cerritos and the USS Merkid are towing a generational ship. Ship carries magic terraforming material. Again, start of a decent pitch. The terraforming material somehow converts inert matter to organic, and like literally, it's just like little droplets, and it turns steel into crazy alien life. Woo! Space magic.
Cool.
Captain Freeman has decided she's mad at Mariner again, and again, fully against Starfleet regs. She gives a series of jobs that are demeaning in the effort of punishing Mariner. I think this is actually against the Geneva Convention separately to give demeaning and dehumanizing work as a punishment.
Yep.
Just throwing that in there.
Lawyered.
Mariner then goes, bah, I'll make fun of it. And this is all part of Freeman and Ransom's plan to try to get Mariner to request a transfer. Which, again, this is this weird nepotism backdrop that just continues to color the entire series. Of just it's shitty families all over. The during the mission, the terraforming material is accidentally pulled to the ships by the tractor beams, although it's really because the Merkid captain is a dingus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Frankly, it's because like the entire justification of any problem this episode is so the episode can happen.
Yep. It's all very convenient stuff happening at very convenient times.
Yeah, there's no character justification.
Yeah.
The terraforming material hits the Merkid. It's crippled. The Cerritos is partially terraformed. Mariner and Freeman escape the terraforming, taking over the ship, using environmental controls to return the ship to its previous state. And they rescue the crew of the Merkid, despite, if I remember correctly, the crew of the Merkid is trying to fight them. It's so stupid.
Mm-hmm. Well, they want the glory.
The B plot is Tendi goes to a spiritual ascension ceremony. Again, rigging to the quasi-spiritualism Star Trek plays with, and can be done really well. But again, Tendi's character gets half rewritten to suit a new episode and is somehow just now unable to accomplish basic tasks and unable to read social cues again, which she vacillates back and forth drastically on. Lieutenant O'Connor is supposed to have a spiritual ascension. She prevents the ascension via clumsiness. They then get in a fight. During the disaster, she reconciles with him. He tries to sacrifice himself to save her. This causes him to ascend. Ascending is painful. Ha ha. Ha ha.
I just want to call out that Tyler just used vacillate. Great word. No, I mean vacillation of the character. I think that is just it's just really funny because she is changing every episode.
Yeah, her and
well, the Borg or
Rutherford.
Rutherford. I don't understand their dynamic anymore, but
yeah, their dynamic. It really feels like they don't like the writing team doesn't have a good handle on these two.
They just fill in whatever role you need them for that episode.
That's true.
They're not. There's nothing. They're not real characters in the sense that they follow a narrative. They're just whatever. What do you need them as? Do you need them as quirky boyfriend girlfriends? Do you need them as hard workers? Do you need them to find themselves? Whatever you need them as, that's what you can write them as. And I think that that's what they've been told to do, because literally every episode they're different.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, it's frustrating for me because there's no logical progression. It just feels like I don't even know that the season is in order of the way it was actually produced to be put out there. I think it may have got rearranged.
I feel
no, it wasn't.
Yeah,
this is the right order, but because of the constant rewriting of people, it sure feels like that.
Yeah, well, it reeks of something. Either for me, it got published in the wrong order and they thought they were doing the right thing by doing that, or number two, it shows of massive issues in the background between the writing room and other areas. Story,
honestly,
everything like that.
I think we're just reading into it too much. These are two characters that can be whatever you want. So
dumb.
Yeah.
And then after all that, after Mariner has her moment of self-realization for the episode, because she keeps having the same two self-realizations every episode, Mariner goes, maybe Starfleet's not so bad, and then laughs at the Admiral's pronunciation of censor.
Censor.
And and then she's demoted back to ensign for that. Again, just like people are petty and stupid. Apparently there's no regulations or oversight. The utopia is a lie. No one loves you. Santa's dead. He was eaten by a
Isn't it
series of
fun?
woodland creatures.
Oh, that's harsh.
Yeah.
No,
Here for
Santa's
the harsh
not dead.
truths.
Again, I just didn't understand how she instantly is like calling her mom. Out of all the other interactions, I don't think that they've really acknowledged that that's her daughter aside from the first episode.
Yep, outside of
I
that.
And then here we are in the fourth episode, and it's like, oh, mom, you know, we
Like,
have a relationship. Really? You guys do?
I think it's because no one else is around, and they thought they could just justify it with that.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's a good justification. I'm saying I'm trying to play armchair psychologist of that's what they were thinking was.
Yeah, I just found it
Oh.
jarring. I'm like, the first mom drop that I heard, and you're right, they were alone. And I'm like,
Yeah.
did I just hear that? And then
But
they full on engage into the combative teenage misbehaving and overparenting mom. No, you be careful. Grab this, do this. You know, like there was these tropes that were kind of cute, kind of funny. I don't know. It just was just this like convenient relationship tactic that appeared out of nowhere.
so, like, how old are these characters supposed to be? Is Mariner supposed to be like 15 or 30?
I don't. But Mariner has this rich backstory. She's like,
I'm getting
oh
at.
well, I was here on first contact, and oh, in this other life, I was wearing this uniform, and I actually got up to this class or what. You know what I mean? She keeps on like, I've got all these experiences. I went out with this Klingon dude. We got drunk. Yeah, blah. Like, I just don't understand. She seems like she's 40 and trying to try out a new career, and she's acting like she's 15. Yeah, compelling stuff. Star Trek Lower Decks.
Yep, pretty much.
So my alternate title for this episode was.
Yeah, this one was a dumb one, just because like it was just dumb. It made no sense. Okay, like story wise, you know, daughter is being a teenage rebel. Daughter, you know, learns better. Mother-daughter's relationship improves. That's the episode. That's your Cole's notes. There you go.
Only
Let's
to be
move on.
ignored for every future episode.
But that's the thing, because every episode
Yeah.
is essentially a standalone episode. Like there's no canon, there's no overarching story. It's just not even a freak of the week. It's just whatever plot point of the week, and let's move on.
Gosh, we're so salty.
Oh, well,
Any
It's
final
just so
thoughts
funny
on this episode?
hearing like it's bad. It's I know I'm trying to give it credit and probably I'm at my own detriment, like trying to figure out why it's bad or what landed up for me.
Mhm.
And obviously I'm not doing very well at that. It is just bad.
Yeah, I mean, I have more in-depth thoughts in the next episode because the next episode is there are moments of good and there are moments of absolutely terrible, and I think there's more to say about that versus this is just like it's not even horrendously bad. It's not even The Room bad. It's just not good. Like it's just as we said the last episode, it's just like it's like a perfect sphere that you can't actually get a grip on, and the moment you're not thinking about it, it's gone. And I think that it was very much designed as a television show, expecting you're going to be on your phone or playing a video game while you watch it.
that's exactly what I'm doing when I'm watching.
Oh, right, and it creates a self-reinforcing cycle because a lot of television is designed for that. And then
Yep.
we do it, and then you can't design, and it's harder to design television that needs you to pay attention.
Yep.
Well, let's just, call a spade. We're the It's Canon podcast, and we're obviously what this is really highlighted to me is how much when I watch these types of things, how much I rely on the pillars of canon, like the story, development, plot, all of this stuff. So naturally, when we look at paper and we see, hey, look, Star Trek Lower Decks. It's a new canon cartoon.
Yep.
Done by the people who do Rick and Morty. And then you're thinking, oh, what? There's intelligence somewhere in here? Let's try it.
Well,
I just feel like we're being really harsh on it, but I get why.
so I'm gonna lay out a quick pitch because we're a little bit short in this episode, and I have an idea for a way that you could do this episode, this show in the Star Trek universe, but better.
All right.
So
let's hear it.
in Enterprise and in TNG and in DS9 and in Voyager and in Picard, we have talked about and we have seen that there are human groups that are not that while they are part of humanity and part of the Federation, technically they are not like they are citizens of the Federation, but they are not part of the apparatus. They serve on civilian starships. They're doing their own thing. Some of them are criminals. Some of them are engaged in sketchy things. Some of them are political activists. There's tons of people out there doing other things. Why not make this show about that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, why not make this show about people who do not get really what the Federation's about, and are like, what?
I would be
Yeah, and
a lot more
create your
accepting of the
class struggles in there.
Yeah, I would be a lot more accepting of the show because that still maintains Star Trek. It does change the fact that everything's like a perfect utopia, but it at least gives credence to the fact that, they're shitting on certain elements of Star Trek's history, where, everything is perfect. And I think Picard is doing a great job of this and kind of changing the way that we perceived and see the Federation overall. This show could have and should have played on that, in my opinion. So you're 100% right.
Yeah.
It'd
It'd be fun to see stuff in a comedy fashion that Star Trek or Starfleet could be Starfleet and follow that trope.
Yep.
The Borg can be the Borg and all this stuff. And you're right, like this free roaming kind of band of idiots in space that keep on having to cause a problem, react to the problem, and then get bailed out by one of these other known entities.
Yeah.
As kind of the shtick.
And that is literally like a recurring thing in DS9. It's the Ferengi on the ship and a few others. Like, this is a recurring thing. We have this happen in TNG to a lesser extent. Voyager is predicated upon the Maquis being against the Federation for philosophical deep grounds.
Yeah.
About increased independence. It's none of this like, it's dumb because it's all nerds.
Yeah.
Nerds are lame.
Well, that's the thing. Like, this show is just, I don't know. It continues to just change so much of what made Star Trek, the core Star Trek ideologies and overall kind of views of the world. And that's just hurting the show, left, right, and center. That inconsistent characters, inconsistent stories that at the end of the day don't mean anything. Like, at the end of this episode, Mariner gets bumped back down to ensign because she pissed off an admiral. Probably should have ended up in the brig. Probably should have been thrown out of Starfleet. But, she wasn't.
But again, it's like for pronouncing a name wrong. Like, Mariner should be removed from Starfleet for any number of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the sci-fi that I like really comes down to if they have a person like that on the ship, they're putting them out the airlock.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just in this universe, they bust you down. Like, I don't know, for saying censor and correcting him. But she went overboard. I agree.
Yeah, but still. All right, Phil.
Dumb.
How about you tell our listeners how they can get a hold of us?
Oh boy. Well, if you have a connection to Santa, like we've been talking about, he does come by. Don't listen to Tyler. He's there. He's happy. He wants to tell us things. He wants to tell us good things. Who's being good? Who's being bad? All that kind of stuff. Apparently, we're being bad. I'm going to call that right now. But you can find us on the internet if you want to tell us that we're bad. At www.itscanonpodcast.com. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at It's Canon Podcast. You can email us to tell us how funny and weird we are at show@itscanonpodcast.com. You can subscribe via Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, Podbean, Amazon, really anywhere you find podcasts, even iHeartRadio, you're going to find the It's Canon podcast. And if you like what you hear, make sure to subscribe so you can find out when we drop all of our wacky episodes. And make sure to leave a rate and review, as we do appreciate you taking the time to listen to our show.
Thank you, Phil. I guess that's everything, guys. Another day wrapped up. You know, I got to get to start wrapping up some gifts, finishing up some stuff, starting the cookie baking bullshit process as we get closer and closer to Christmas. So he's Phil. He's Tyler. I'm Boris. It's the It's Canon podcast. The podcast where we talk about all things, everything. And apparently, even sometimes try to talk about Star Trek, but fail because it's a horrible show. So that's everything, guys. Good night.